So recently I came across this video from Sevi Plays, who is a big YouTuber and also a streamer I think, who covers a lot of Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail content. Now I've seen Sevi around in the kind of community ever since I started making content, and she seems like a very nice person, and a lot of what I've seen from her has been very positive. With her main kind of content being stuff surrounding a lot of guides. Obviously the most recent one was a Kinich guide for Genshin Impact, and she pretty much covers all of the characters coming to both of the Hoyo Games, which I think is great. And obviously she has become one of the biggest guide makers in the community. Now, is she the top one? Probably not, but I'll definitely put her up there in the kind of like top 5, top 10 kind of, guide makers, which is a pretty important place to get to. But recently she put out this video called Taking a Break, which confused a lot of people as, they just weren't really expecting this at all. And in this video she goes on to explain that she'll be stepping away from her YouTube channel, not that she wants to say that it's permanent or anything, but it might be for a long time, and that we're pretty much not going to be seeing any more guides coming from her, which is weird. And she goes on to explain that a lot of it is to do with personal issues and stuff going on in her life, which again is totally understandable, but that was just one factor to it, because another fact was also the fact that she couldn't get into the Hoyoverse creator experience server. Now if you don't know, Hoyoverse have this server where you can pretty much try out the characters and make build guides on them, and even sometimes release videos early. And if you look through some of the more recent builds, then some of these guides might actually be, used on the creator server, which again has kind of sparked out an issue in the community, as it means that Hoyoverse now gets to pick out a lot of their build guide creators and kind of choose the ones that get the views, because obviously whenever it comes to build guides, it's more about who gets there first. People battle to get the earlier video out, and it used to be the fact that people would, work on it and then release it as quickly as possible whenever a character came out. But now with a lot of this new Hoyoverse stuff, people have to have access to the server so that they can release content earlier, which means they're going to get more views. And if you don't have access to this, well, you might as well not even try and make guides, because again, it's pretty much pointless, and you're not going to get nearly half as many views as, you could. And yeah, Sevi was saying that she actually didn't get invited to the latest one, I think it was with Zealanen, meaning that she had to actually pull for the character and then make the build guide, which just wasn't quick enough. And, that's totally understandable why, she couldn't make a guide on it anymore, because everyone else has already covered it because they got access. And we've also seen it in cases in the past with Brexphone as well, with Honkai Star, I think it is, who I'm pretty sure had something going on with the creator experience server, and that meant that, he's no longer really making that many guides. And a lot of this stuff kind of made me think a lot about Wuthering Waves and their overall situation with build guides and a lot of their content creator services. Now, I know I've been yapping a lot, but if you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And also go to my Twitch where I'll be streaming live. I definitely recommend giving it a follow and going down to the pinned comment where the link will be there, because if you follow, then you get a notification as soon as I go live, and then you don't miss a stream. But let's get back into the video. So as I was saying, obviously it is absolutely terrible that Hoyoverse is able to do something like this and actually control a lot of, how these creators make their income, because again, this is a job for a lot of people, and Hoyoverse are the ones that, kind of have all of the control here. But whenever we go over to Wuthering Waves and their whole build system, it gets a little bit different, because obviously, Wuthering Waves have a ton of echoes in the game, which again can be very useful for a lot of characters. But I think we've gone up to a point here where it's actually fairly easy to build a character compared to, Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. Now, obviously you might struggle a little bit on the certain stats you're supposed to put them on, but it's fairly obvious that you put the, lightning piece on the lightning character, you put the healing piece on the healing character, and so on. It's really like self-explanatory, and the only thing that you really need to know is the stats, which again, a lot of people aren't interested in making build guides. Because if you just search Wuthering Waves build guide on YouTube, you can see there's a top video from Xiox here, who obviously is a massive Genshin Impact build guide creator, if not the top build guide creator. And we haven't really seen any Wuthering Waves guides from him since, because there isn't any point. Now, a lot of these, whenever you search up a build guide, it has a lot of the early stuff like Kalcharo and also, Jiang Jin, and a ton of these older characters that came to the game whenever the game first released, which again was extremely useful because no one had any clue what the, kind of ecosystem was about and how to build their characters. But now a lot of people have kind of gotten a grasp at it. People just don't care about making build guides for new characters coming out, including the Shorekeeper and people like that. Now, there will be some guides out there, I'm sure, from some creators teaching you how to build, the Shorekeeper, because again, there is some stuff to be talked about, but not as much as maybe some other games, and they just won't get as many views because, again, no one really cares. They will just go to sites like Pridwin, which is a very good data site, which pretty much tells you, how to build your characters, what are the best characters, how the gacha system works. They've got a ton of other stuff, interactive maps as well, which again is very useful, and all people need to know is the stats, so they will go to Pridwin, where a lot of this does get tested, and it also gets tested by creators, I'm pretty sure as well. I'm pretty sure they do work with a couple of creators, and there you go, you're done. You just need to know what kind of, stats need to be on these echoes, and you already know pretty much what set you need to be using with them anyways. which again I think is a much better system overall, and I really hope that Wuthering Waves doesn't go down the kind of Genshin Impact Hoyoverse route, where there's a more complex build system. Now obviously this could change in the future whenever, you know, more pieces come out, more echoes come out, you know, that's going to come with new regions coming to the game, I'm assuming. There is a problem that maybe, you know, it will get a bit more complicated, which will require build guides for people, but I hope that they don't have a creator system like this, where it's all about kind of getting involved with a certain community or a certain, you know, the right people to actually get access to the server, because it does beg the question with Sevi, if she's not getting access to it, then who is? Because as I said, she's probably one of the top 5, if not top 10, you know, creators in terms of build guides for Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. You know, let's just remember that she does it for both. She's not just on one. Then why isn't she getting access? It just seems very, very weird, and I don't actually know who has access to it anymore. And maybe it's less build guide creators now or something like that, but it does seem like some still do have this advantage, which obviously is very unfair to Sevi and a lot of the other creators that don't have access to this. And I think that's just the case of Hoyoverse's creator system just getting worse and worse. It was actually pretty decent whenever, you know, Genshin Impact first came out and stuff, and in the first couple of years, but now it's starting to go downhill a bit. It's starting to become a little bit more niche, and a lot of people have to know the right people and have to, you know, do the right content and be very, very, you know, Hoyoverse safe to actually get any of this kind of stuff, which again kind of sucks for a lot of creators, because again, they shouldn't have to do that. They just want to make content on the game rather than trying to suck up to Hoyoverse. But yeah, as I was saying with Wuthering Waves, hopefully in the future, you know, so far all the creator stuff seems to be pretty good and a lot of people have been enjoying it. But if we ever do get to a situation where build guides get a bit more complicated and people have to start making videos, I definitely hope that, you know, they don't add any of this kind of competitive nature to it. Now obviously whenever build guides do come out, there is going to be some degree of I've got to get this out first, and we see that a lot with other things as well, like trailer releases and other stuff. People have to get their reactions out first for it to do any good. Now obviously we can't actually control anything to do with that, but I think one thing that Wuthering Waves can do to kind of avoid this kind of situation that Sevi had is just not to add any of this kind of, you know, tight-knit kind of stuff. I think that like stuff like beta testing and stuff to try out the characters first is fine, but I think allowing them to, you know, early release a build guide for a character a couple of days before a lot of the other YouTubers is completely wrong, because a lot of people don't have this advantage, and you've just taken viewership away from a lot of channels when you could actually let them just kind of naturally compete for it, which I think is much better and is free of any kind of tampering with any of these companies, which, you know, I think we can all agree is something that we all want. But so far, a lot of these kind of ecosystems do tend to be quite straightforward, and I think they also have a recommendation system in the game too, meaning that you don't have to really follow that many build guides. Now, obviously, as I was saying, it was really helpful to have these early build guides to let you know how a lot of these characters work, but now it doesn't really matter, you know. We get a kind of, you know, trailer telling us how the character works, and then you can kind of assume what kind of, you know, things you need on the character. Now, obviously, maybe, you know, you might need the Bellborn, or you might need the Fallacy of No Return, and it might be a little bit different because they are forecast echoes, so you're gonna have to know which one's, you know, better than which. But again, you've got sites like Pridwin like that, so you can just go through it, look through it quickly, and no one really wants to watch a video on it anymore, especially in the Wuthering Waves community. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are much more mature in the community, so they don't really care about spending like 20 minutes looking at a build guide. Whereas in the Genshin community and Honkai Star Rail community, maybe people are a little bit more interested just because, you know, they're younger and they just have more time in their hands to kind of learn about these characters a little bit more. Because I'm not saying that build guides are bad, I think they are great, and I think they do kind of, you know, provide a really good insight into a lot of the characters and help you to understand it more if, you know, some text on Pridwin or whatever doesn't really help you. I think that's really, really great, but apart from that, I definitely think that the competition that's going on with it kind of sucks, and hopefully we don't see it in Wuthering Waves in the future, and so far we don't, so that is all good. But yeah, this was just a very interesting topic that I wanted to talk about quickly. It did really interest me with the Sevi kind of, you know, taking the break thing. And again, I hope she's all good. I mean, you know, she seems like a very nice person. So again, hopefully we do see her, you know, coming back in the future. And hopefully, you know, a lot of this stuff does get resolved with Genshin Impact. And also, hopefully, Wuthering Waves can kind of avoid this altogether. But yeah, let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this. Do you think that, you know, Wuthering Waves should be adding this kind of creator system? Or do you think that, you know, it's going to be a waste of time and that, you know, there's no point in it because it's going to kind of make a even worse space for creators that is already pretty bad in a kind of gacha gaming sense. Yeah, that's all I got for this video. If you did enjoy it, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And as I said, go over to my Twitch where you can go give me a follow, which will be down in the pinned comments. Again, follow me and then you'll know whenever I'm going live. And yeah, I'll see you guys over there. That's all. See ya.